Hello dear students, today we are going to continue from our last topic, and the topic that we were discussing was about the type of phytohormones and their functions. Okay, so today we are going to continue with the next type of hormone, that is ethene, or it is also called ethylene or acetylene. Okay, now yesterday the three types of hormones that we learned, they were accelerating growth in the plants somehow or the other. They were the growth promoters, means they were inducing growth in the plant. Like if I talk about auxin, then cell elongation was there, cell differentiation was there, it was breaking the dormancy of the seeds and buds. Okay, if we talk about gibberellic acid or gibberellins, then it helps in what? It also does the same, cell differentiation, elongation, okay, and it also helps in growing of the stem. Okay, stem is growing because of that. The elongation of the stem takes place because of gibberellic acid. Then another one was, another one we discussed about cytokinin. Cytokinin, the hormone which induces cell division in different parts of the cell. Okay, these were all promoting growth in the plant. Now we will discuss about two types of hormones, and these hormones are growth inhibitors. Okay, they fall in the category of growth retarders or growth inhibitors. So what are they? First one is ethene. It is also called ethylene or acetylene. Okay, what it does, it helps in ripening of fruits. Means the stage of ripening of fruit has come. It means the fruit is no more part of the plant. It will fall down. Okay, so what are the different types of function that it performs? It helps in, or it stimulates the formation of separation layer in leaves, flowers and fruits. You know what is this separation layer? This is called abscission layer. I am writing here ABSCISION, abscission, abscission layer. Okay, now this abscission layer that is formed is also called separation layer. What is it actually? It forms a layer. After this, what happens? Either the leaf or the leaves, I should say, or the fruit which is ripened is going to cut off from there and will shed, or it will fall. Okay, so it forms a zone of separation layer in flowers, in leaves or in fruits. After that it gets broken. Like you might have seen while gardening, doing the work of, like you are watering the plants, you might have observed that some leaves are such that if you touch them, they fall down, they die. It means they are not supporting growth. Why? Because the part from where they were joined to the plant, over there an abscission zone has been formed. That is, separation layer has been formed, and because of that, this part of the plant is no more. It can be branch, it can be leaf, it can be flower, okay, it can be fruit. So this separation layer is not allowing it to support the growth, so it will fall, or it is like dead part now. Okay, then it also promotes yellowing and senescence of leaves. Yellowing, see, when the young leaf is there, it is crisp green in color, and if you have to break it, you have to do a lot of efforts to break that or to pluck that leaf. But if the leaf is yellowish, brownish, it means it can easily get broken. You just pull it, pluck it, and it will get broken. It will get separated from the plant. So this is because of the ethene or ethylene or acetylene. It has produced an effect, we call it senescence, or it is just like making it old. Okay, the leaf is growing old. It is developing, or it is promoting aging of the leaf. That's why we also call it what? Promotes yellowing and senescence of leaves, aging in leaves. So none of the symptoms are there of any kind of growth in the plant, but It is supporting only the death of the part of the plant. Okay. Then comes the next one, abscisic acid. Abscisic acid. ABSCISIC. Abscisic acid. Or we also call it ABA. Abscisic acid or ABA. Now, what are the functions of abscisic acid? Again, it is also a growth retarder hormone. It does not induce any kind of growth in the plant or in different parts of the plant. It also inhibits the growth. So what are the functions? It promotes dormancy in seeds. Now if the seed will become dormant, do you think it is going to grow? No. So it promotes dormancy in seeds and buds and thus inhibits growth, does not allow it to grow. Then second function, it promotes closing of stomata. The stomatas are going to close. Affects wilting of leaves, means wilting means what? Drooping down, murjhana. Okay, it affects the wilting of leaves. When the stomatas are closed, the leaves are going to get wilt also. It promotes in falling of leaves and again senescence in leaves. That is again that creating an effect of getting old. Okay, so abscisic acid also does not show any kind of growth inducing effects. Instead, it is inhibiting the growth of the parts of the different type of parts of the plant. So this is how we end up with the plant hormones or the phytohormones. So there are two types of hormones which do not support the growth in the plants. It actually retards the growth. It stops the growth. Okay. So which are they? The one is ethene, ethylene or acetylene, and the another one is abscisic acid. Okay. It creates an effect of ripening in fruits also. See, if you have ever noticed, when you bring the box or the packed box of mangoes, in that you might have seen that a packet is kept and in which some ash-like substance is there. Actually, it is acetylene. You know what is it doing there? It is releasing some gas, and that gas, acetylene gas, is inducing what? It is helping in ripening of that raw mangoes. So what the vendors do, or the fruit sellers, what do? They pluck the raw mangoes, arrange them in such a way that they do not get spoiled, okay, and put some acetylene or ethene in packets and place them there. Now the fumes or the gas that is released from acetylene substance helps in ripening of the or yellowing, ripening of the raw mangoes. But they do not have sweet taste. If the ripening of the mango would have taken place on the tree itself, mango tree, then it would have been a ripe and sweet mango. But such type of, in which we are inducing the ripeness by artificial means with the help of some chemical substance, can make it yellow, can give it an appearance of ripening, but the taste will remain same, that of raw. It will be sour in taste. Okay. So this is how we end up here with the types of phytohormones. 5 types in all. In all, how many types? 5 types are there. What are they? Number 1, we discussed about indole acetic acid or auxins. Then we discussed about gibberellins and then cytokinins. They were all growth promoters, accelerators. Then 2 hormones which stops the growth in the plant, that are ethene or ethylene or acetylene, and the last one is abscisic acid. Okay, abscission means a layer is formed which allows the death of the part of the plant. Okay, now after this let us discuss about a very important question. This you need to write in your notebooks, okay, so that it becomes easy for you to have notes. In the book it is not given in so elaborate manner, so you better make a written note in your notebooks. Now, a very important question, and it is in your NCERT also, it's part of your exercise also, that how do auxins, I'm writing the question here, how do auxins promote, how do auxins promote the growth of a tendril? Promote of a tendril around a support. It's an important question. Okay, important. See, for example, this is a support. You might have seen, what is tendril first of all? Tendril is a helical structure that is found in plants in the form of some in the part of the plant, mostly in creepers or vines. Okay, creepers or clambers, you might have seen, like the clamber of a like pumpkin, creeper, not clamber. Okay, money plant or some other like bitter gourd, clamber is there. So when it starts climbing, it starts wrapping around the support. Okay, for example, this is the support. Now what happens? This plant part, that is tendril, what it does? It starts wrapping around like this. Okay, how it is happening so? You might have seen very small twigs or the stem itself, one clamber on the another part of the, or you might have seen that your parents might, what they do? They make a string, they tie a string, a rope, okay, or they may put some support, and climbers, what do? They start climbing on them, and it's not that straight away, they are going to wrap around like this, and then they will grow, climbers. Same way creepers also. And if they find any twig or any support, then they curl around it also. So we call them tendrils. So how this tendril is formed and who helps in making the tendrils? These are auxins. So this is a question, how do auxins promote the growth of, okay, I missed here, promote the growth of growth of tendril around a support. So how it happens? See, what happens actually? Auxins are growth supporter, as you know it about this. Okay, so when a tendril comes in contact with any support, say this is the support, and the tendril has come in contact with this. So what is going to happen? The object does not grow as rapidly as the part of the tendril away from the object. See how it happens. For example, this is tendril, it is coming in contact with the support. So this part which is coming in contact, here auxin is present. Now this auxin diffuses from this part to this part. The part which is touching, from here the auxin travels or diffuses to the free part. Okay, now we know that auxins, they help in growth. So what will happen? This part which is in touch with the support does not grow as rapidly as the part of the tendril which is away from the object, this one. Okay, now as a result, what will happen? This is caused by the action of auxin hormone. Auxin does not allow this part to grow quickly because whole of the auxin from this side has diffused this side. So this free part has more auxin as compared to the part which is touching the support. As a result, this part is going to grow more as compared to this one. So what will happen? It will curl around it. Okay, so less oxygen occurs on the side of contact as compared to the free side. Fine. And as a result, what happens? Oxygen promotes growth on the free side and tendrils coil around the support because a little bit curvature will be caused. As a result, it starts wrapping around the support. Okay. So when tendrils come in contact, again I am repeating, when tendrils come in contact with any support, then the part of the tendril in contact with the support or with the object does not grow as rapidly as the part which is away from the object. Okay, so this is caused by, why it is so caused? Because of the presence of the or action of the oxygen. Okay, now less oxygen which is on this side, which is touching the support, less oxygen occurs on the side of contact, less oxygen occurs on the side of contact as compared to the free side. Okay, so what happens? Oxygen promotes growth on the outer side more as compared to the inner side, and hence what happens? The tendrils coil around the support. So it's a very important question. You need to learn it. For 3 marks or maybe for 2 marks, it can be easily asked. Now, the next concept that we are going to discuss about is role of oxygen. Role of oxygen in what? It is role of oxygen in phototropism. We learned in the topic of tropic movements. Role of oxygen in phototropism. Phototropism, you know very well. What is phototropism? When the part of the plant is showing some effect because of the light. Okay, it the part of the plant showing some response towards the light, and that is shoot. If you remember the activity that we discussed in tropic movements, that when plants are kept in a dark room for some days and then suddenly we provide some light by opening the window or something like this, what do we see? We see that plant starts bending towards the light. Okay, why it happens so? So it's again a very important question, that why do plants bend towards light? What is the role of oxygen in this? So what is the role of oxygen in phototropism? We are going to discuss about this. See, oxygen is a light-fearing phytohormone. Okay, and it is synthesized in the meristematic tissues in the tip of the stem. Fine. Now, what happens if the oxygen is being synthesized in the meristematic? We are going to illustrate with 2 examples, with 2 things. Okay, what are they? There are 2 conditions. Let us discuss about first that the plant which is growing in the sunlight, that is growing straight away. It is not bending neither here or not on any other side. We are not talking about the deformity of the shape, but we are talking about the effect of the light. Okay. Now, when the light is falling directly on the shoot or on the tip of the shoot, then what happens? Because whole of the oxygen is being concentrated here, so what happens? As it is light-fearing hormone, so what will happen? The oxygen is diffused uniformly down the stem and plant kept in the open and receiving sunlight from above. Okay. Now, due to this equal presence of oxygen, because oxygen is distributed equally when the light is falling on the tip of the shoot, then stem grows up straight, because both the sides of the stem growth takes place at same pace. Again I am explaining. Oxygen diffuses uniformly down the stem when the plant is kept in open and receives sunlight from above. Okay. Then second thing, what happens? Due to this presence of oxygen equally on both the sides, this side also, here, all the lateral sides, the stem grows up straight. Why? Because both of the sides of the stem show growth at the same pace. Okay, means it is growing equally on both sides because of the uniform distribution of oxygen. But in another case, the case where the bending of shoot was taking place towards the light, over there what happened? The second case says that when the plant received light only from one side. In first case, plant was receiving light from top. Okay, but now the light is coming from one side. Then what happens? In this case, the auxin hormone moved from the tip of stem and concentrated more on the side not receiving the sunlight. Okay, see, oxygen is here, light is coming from this direction. So what will happen? Light is received from this side, the part which is facing light. Whole of the oxygen will diffuse this side. Which side? The one which is shady, which is not receiving light. Okay, as a result, the more of the concentration of oxygen is on the shady part. As a result, what will happen? This part will grow more as compared to this part. So the curvature will develop. Okay, the stem curves towards the light. Okay, it shows bending. Due to presence of more auxin hormone, the shady side of stem grow fast as compared to the part which is receiving light. As a result, what happens? The stem bends towards the direction of light. Okay, so this is how we can explain if the question comes in exam that when a plant is standing straight or is in open, it is growing straight. And on the other hand, when the plant is growing in a dark room or somewhere, the light is being received from one side only, then it shows bend towards the light. So I hope it is clear to everyone how the bend or how the plant gets bent towards the source of light. Okay, so this is, here we are going to end about the hormones in plants, or we can say phytohormones. So today's questions for learning are or doing are that first of all you will write down the note on two different types of hormones which are growth retarders. Okay, name the hormone, phytohormones, which controls the growth, which do not allow the growth of the plant, and write their functions. Then next thing that you are going to do is that what is the role of auxin in phototropism? Second question. And third question says that how the formation of tendril takes place in the plants.